Whatever the occasion, effortless elegance is right this way. Because Hilton brings you new ways to stay courtesy of the Nomad London. And it doesn't stop at award-winning dining in a space draped in velvet and illuminated by vintage chandeliers. No, this day goes beyond with unparalleled personalized service and attentive hospitality. Oh, and did we mention the Nomad London can be booked using your Hilton Honors points at Hilton.com? Hilton, for the stay.
British Spy Stories Season 4 Double Agent Episode 25. It's dawn in London. Rose hasn't slept well and is lying watching the light creep around the sides of the blind in her bedroom. Her phone is on silent, so she only sees the screen light up next to her to know that a call is coming in. She looks at the device, but it displays number withheld. Hello? Rose? Who's this? Klaus Neumann. I worked with Leo Haas. I know who you are, Herr Neumann. I thought we could have a conversation, says Neumann. What about? I know you work with Oscar Zetkin. He pauses, but she remains silent. My friends in the Zurich police tell me that Oscar's empire is crumbling. I wouldn't know. I think you do know, and I'd like to talk to you about working together. Leo left funds, and I know that you have those funds. We could build a bigger empire together, Rose. Your reputation is strong, but I need to see you investing your money in our new venture. Just Leo's money isn't quite enough for that. Can you get access to more? I can, she says. Zetkin has an emergency fund. I know where to find it. Are you saying you're interested in us working together? Let me secure Zetkin's funds first, Herr Neumann. Then let's talk. I'll look forward to it. My friends call me Klaus. Then I'll see you very soon, Klaus. She ends the call and starts to search for flights to Zurich. The Toyota sports car turns the final corner on the journey from MI5's Thames House headquarters to the home of Charles and Sylvia Webster in Ealing, West London. As Riverside slows down, Loxby scans the houses for number 49. The day has darkened enough for the street lights to start coming on as they pass them. He stops the car after Loxby calls out, This is the one. They both look at the building. It's a standard 1930s detached house with a curved front bay window. The garden is neat and tidy, and the fences have been painted in the last year. Riverside pulls into the driveway. The windows of the house are all dark. Doesn't look like anyone's home, she says, and Riverside turns his mouth down in agreement. We'll have to look anyway. They both step out and slam their doors simultaneously. Procurement obviously pays well. A place like this is a few million quid around here. Riverside walks to the front door and puts his ear to the wood, listening for any sounds inside the place, but he can't hear anything. He knocks on the door and they both wait in silence. He knocks again, but no one comes to answer. He looks at Loxby and nods his head to the side, indicating that they'll have a look around the back. A tall fence blocks the view of the garden, but there's a gate in the centre. Riverside turns the handle, and it's unlocked. They both walk through. The side of the house is as neat and tidy as the front. Nothing seems out of place. They reach the back corner of the building, and from here they can see a large garden that disappears from sight on a curve at the far end. They move slowly and silently along the back of the home, peering into the windows as they pass each one. Loxby holds out her palms upwards to say that there's nothing here. and Riverside nods. They both listen in the air. Loxby puts a finger up and looks at Riverside. They watch each other's face as they strain to hear anything. She points to a door that is another 30 feet ahead of them. And he says, "Garage." She screws up her features as they get nearer the door and she can smell something. Then he smells it too. "Exhaust fumes." They both move more quickly towards the door. Loxby reaches it first and pulls at the handle. The door swings open and fumes spew out into the air around them, enough for them both to cough and stand back. Riverside looks around and sees a garden hose on a reel. He runs to it, pulls off his overcoat and throws it to the ground. He douses the coat in water until it's drenched. Then he picks it up, throws the coat over his head and disappears into the garage. Some of the fumes have escaped through the open door, but he still can't see any more than a few feet in front of him. He creeps around the vehicle. Riverside can see a tube connected to the exhaust pipe and running into the rear window of the car. He opens the driver's door and Webster is there. He grabs the man's body and tries to pull him out. Riverside struggles to move the man as Webster is unconscious, and there is little space in the garage to get a proper grip. After a minute, Riverside gets the body near to the open doorway, and Loxby can see them. She steps in, and they both drag Webster out into the fresh air. Riverside bends double and coughs violently. Loxby kneels next to Webster to see if she can wake him as Riverside's coughs continue to echo across the garden's neat flower beds. Eventually, he stops and takes deep breaths. "Ah," he says, then focuses on Loxby. "How is he?" She pauses to make sure Riverside hears what she has to say. "He's dead, Rob." Riverside hurries over and drops to the ground on the other side of Webster's body to feel for a pulse, as she had done. When he finds nothing, he slumps down and takes a large breath out. "Suicide?" she says. "Yeah, looks like it." "Because of what we did?" He looks at her, and she looks sad. "No, Emma. It's because of what he did. We didn't push him to do this. He committed the crime. We found out. He made the decision to end his life. Don't start thinking that you're responsible." She is quiet. He leans his head down to see her face. "Okay." She says. They both sit on the ground, next to the dead man, for a minute. "We better call it in," he says. "Get the local police here." She scans the corpse. "What's this?" she says, pointing to Webster's wrists. "He's got cuts on his skin." Riverside inspects what she's found. "It looks like chafing, from some sort of binding." "There's plastic there," she says. "A broken bit. In his trouser belt, look." He picks up the end of a plastic tie. His hands were tied. "Not suicide, then?" "No. More like murder." They wait for the police to arrive, explain what happened, then leave the officers to call forensics and deal with the crime scene. Riverside and Loxby walk back to the car and climb inside. "We should tell his wife," she says. Riverside looks at her for a moment, then punches a button on the dashboard, and a ringing sound comes out of the speakers. "Dave's Electronics," says a woman's voice. Riverside recites today's password to get access to the MI6 Operational Control Centre in London. "Hello, Marlin." "Riverside? I thought you were seconded to 5. "I am, but I need you, though." "Don't tempt me," she says. Loxby looks embarrassed in the seat next to him. "What do you need?" A mobile number. We've got an Epsilon 2 in Ealing. He uses the MI6 code for a dead body. We wanted to go and break the news to the wife. What's the name of the deceased? Webster, Charles. Work for procurement branch in HMG. 2 seconds. Riverside looks across at Loxby, who tries to look relaxed. Here we are, says Agent Marlin from the speaker. I've got his mobile number phone record. Let me just run the analysis. Marlin reads the results from the scan. Over the last week there have been 2 numbers he called a lot. His wife should be one of them. Send them over, Marlin. I owe you a drink. I'll hold you to that, she says. See you're up. He turns to Loxby. We can emulate a call so it looks like it's coming from Webster's phone, he says, and presses a button beside the main display screen in the car. A keypad appears and he dials the first number. A ringing tone fills the car. Charlie? It's not Charlie, says Riverside. It's his mate. He left his phone in the pub. I was just calling as you're the last number he dialed. Wondered if you'll be seeing him. There's a second of silence, then the call ends. The spies look at each other. A lady friend, maybe, says Loxby. And Riverside opens his eyes wide. He dials the second number. Where have you been? Says a woman's voice. I called you earlier. Is that Mrs. Webster? Yes. Who's this? I'm a doctor, Mrs. Webster, Dr. Laker. The HR person at procurement branch, where your husband works, gave me your number. What's happened? She says. Your husband had an accident at work. I'm on call in my car. I wanted to come and talk to you through the diagnosis. Would that be all right? Of course. I'm staying with friends. Sylvia gives the address. They ring off, and Riverside opens the glove box near Loxby. He rifles around, then pulls out a plastic badge. There it is, he says, and shows Loxby a National Health Service ID badge in the name of Dr. Ben Laker. It has Riverside's face on it. When they arrive at the address, Riverside parks around the corner, and they walk back to the house. He knocks on the front door, and Sylvia answers. Mrs. Webster, he says. I'm Dr. Laker, and this is my trainee, Kathy. Yes, Doctor, won't you both come in? She leads them into the lounge. What happened? She says. Mrs. Webster, is there someone else here with you in the house? Sylvia clears her throat. Yes, my friend Becky. She's upstairs. Why? I'm sorry I have to tell you, but your husband died, Mrs. Webster. Sylvia is speechless, but not emotional. Her face doesn't change. Loxby moves to sit next to her and takes her hand. After a moment, Sylvia says, You said on the phone he had an accident? Riverside hesitates, then says gently, I'm afraid he took his own life, Adam. She remains still, but doesn't cry. Her breaths beat out a steady rhythm in the room, as they all sit in silence. Are you all right? Says Loxby. She turns her eyes to her, gives the smallest of nods, and makes the slightest affirmative sound. Can I see him? He'll be in the hospital, says Riverside. The police can arrange it. Here's their number. He pulls out a notepad and writes a telephone number on the top sheet. If there's anything else, Mrs. Webster, we'll go. Call your friend down. It's better you're not alone. Thank you for calling round, she says. We'll see ourselves out. Call your GP if you need any more support. Sylvia nods. Riverside and Loxby walk back into the hallway of the house, and as they do, they hear the sound of a key in the front door, just before it opens. Gavin stops dead when he sees Loxby. You again, he says to Loxby. I'm Dr. Laker, says Riverside, pulling his ID badge out on its lanyard to show the man. No, you're not, says Gavin, and nods towards Loxby. I saw her with Charlie Webster. Then she tried to trap me in the pub. You're both spies. Mr. Masters, as I know you're cleared to receive intelligence, due to you being on the National Security Committee, I can tell you that we are members of the intelligence community. What are you doing here? Says Gavin, his eyes flitting between the two of them. We came to tell Mrs. Webster that her husband had died. Charlie Webster's dead. Riverside nods. Was he murdered? Officially suicide, sir. And unofficially? Says Gavin, locking his gaze onto Riverside's. But there's no reply. I understand. They start to move towards the door. You were pressurising with your little games, were you? Says Gavin to Loxby. Like you tried with me? No, she says. It was a trap, I assume, our little rendezvous. Loxby pulls her eyebrows together. Gavin turns back to Riverside. I'll need protection for myself and my wife. As you have got me into this, I expect MI5 to sort that out. I know the police commissioner. I'm sure he'll support the idea. Come on, Lily, we're going for a walk. Becky calls up the stairs. Sylvia's coming too. Gavin can hear his wife from the lounge of the cottage that MI5 moved them into yesterday. He stands up and walks to the hallway. Do you think going out's a good idea? All the security is here to keep us safe. I'm not staying cooped up here, because you couldn't resist the temptation to be a traitor, Gavin. You haven't calmed down yet, then. I thought you might have had time to think overnight. Becky's anger, which is already on simmer, rises to boiling. I have, actually, Gavin. Given it a lot of thought. Good, he says. And I've reached a conclusion. Right. He looks expectant. I don't want you around any longer. What? You heard, she says. We were going nowhere anyway. This is just the cherry on the top. Let's sit down and have a proper... No! I want you out of here by tonight. Tell the police at the bottom of the driveway. They can find you another safe house. Becky, this is crazy. Her emotions drop suddenly, and her voice becomes calm. She moves her face towards him and whispers, What is crazy, Gavin? It's me staying with you for as long as I have. The sound of Sylvia's and Lily's feet on the stairs stop the conversation. Becky turns to smile at her daughter. Let's go, Lily. Sylvia opens the door and walks out, and Lily runs after her. Becky looks back at her husband. Goodbye, Gavin, she says, and steps out into the bright daylight. Episode 26. A group of 3 businesswomen and a businessman walk in through the revolving doors of the Friedrich Andersen building on Friedenstrasse in central Frankfurt and approach the reception desk. They explain they are here for a meeting with one of the executives, Anders Frey. The man on reception puts in a call to the extension number that is displayed on his screen when he types in Anders Frey to the company directory. In the British listening station, GCHQ, 600 miles away, a set of lights illuminate to show that the call has been patched through to them. An operator answers in German to tell the receptionist that Anders Frey is in a meeting, but please do let the guests come through security and direct them to the 3rd floor conference room. The group enter the lift and ride 3 floors up with other people in the car. As those people step out and the doors close, the businessman in the group hinges open a panel on one side of the lift to reveal a set of controls, and he hits the stop button. One of the women reaches up and sticks an image over the CCTV camera lens in the lift to replicate the view from that camera showing an empty car. The man pushes a minuscule amount of plastic explosive onto the lift control box, then pushes metal probes into it. The four people all look away for a second, and he presses a button on the box at the other end of the wires. There's a small bang, and smoke rolls out from the control panel. He clips on a tiny device to the controls inside the cover and pulls out his phone. On the screen, he pushes the word basement, and the car starts to drop. The lights above the door, though, still show the lift to be on the 3rd floor. "Overalls," says Gabby, and they all pull workers' overalls from their briefcases. They pull rubber covers over their business shoes and baseball caps on their heads. As the lift doors open in the basement, Kate pulls out more camera cover images and runs to each of the cameras in the vestibule area to enclose the lenses. As she covers successive lenses, the others gradually move into the newly shielded floor area until the whole space is hidden from the security control room. Laravel and Hans run to the secure doorway that gives access to the vault doors. There is a keyboard and terminal embedded into each door. Simultaneously, they type user IDs and passwords into the two keyboards. They stop before hitting enter and look across at each other. Hans counts down from 3 to 1, and they hit the enter buttons together. The lights flick on to green, and they spin the vast locking handles to slowly open the security doors. From Gabby's briefcase, she pulls out a laptop and a waist harness that she clips around herself. The laptop slips into the harness so she can use the machine and still walk around. Kate unscrews a panel to one side of the secure doors and pulls out a loom of cables. She picks through the bundle until she finds the blue and yellow wires that she is looking for. Kate strips the wires. Gabby hands her a transmitter, which Kate attaches to the wires. Then Gabby logs the laptop into the signal. They both look at the laptop screen as it rolls through some security routines. Then the login screen for the Friedrich Anderson computer system comes up, and Gabby logs in with credentials that London hacked yesterday. 2 minutes to lorry arrival, she says to them all. A call from the security guard on the road access is intercepted again by GCHQ, who confirm that the delivery is expected, and the guard can raise the gate. Gabby clicks through the screens on her laptop until she reaches the goods entrance controls and hits enter. Down the corridor, they can hear the thick steel start to roll back in the loading bay. In front of Hans and Laravel, inside the secure doors, 10 infrared beams cut across the space at 1-foot gaps. From her briefcase, Laravel produces 20 mirrored brackets and gives half to Hans. They start sticking the brackets next to the points where each infrared beam emerges from the metal wall, being careful not to break any beam as they work. When all 20 are in place, Laravel pulls out her phone and goes to an app designed by London to control the mirrors. "Okay," says Hans. She nods, then hits engage on the screen. The brackets flick into right angles and cut the beams, bouncing them up, then onto the next mirror and across and down the other side, making a tunnel to allow them to walk to the vault doors. Hans walks to the gold vault and attaches a magnetic box to the door. He touches the front panel and numbers start to flick around on the box as it calculates the unlock code needed. Laravel and Hans can't look away as the numbers gradually stop rotating in each position on the screen as the correct number is found. The goods entrance door is now fully open. The MI5 driver from the lorry starts to open the back doors of the trailer too. He reaches into the back and picks up a gold-coloured gaming controller, which he gives to Kate. Gabby smiles at her. "This is where we see how good a gamer you are, Kate." Kate flicks the controls. From inside the container, a swarm of mini drones rises up and moves slowly forward. Kate turns the joysticks and the drones move to line up in a single file. The line reaches all the way from the back of the lorry and into the corridor. In front of the gold vault, Hans and Laravel watch as the final number stops moving, and the box front goes green. "Ready?" calls Gabby from outside of the secure door. "Yeah, 15 minutes starts now," says Hans. He presses the unlock button on the box. There is a second when nothing happens. Then the central door panel displays Vault accessible. Hans pulls the door open and can't help an intake of breath at the sight of the bullion. Vault open. Kate flicks the gaming controls. The drone line starts to move forwards, then around the corner and into the vestibule near the secure door. Kate runs to the head of the drone line. "Start recording to register the first drone path," says Gabby. Kate's fingers move and one drone flies in through the infrared tunnel and towards the vault. There is a metal table near the entrance to the vault, and Laravel has placed one gold bar on the table. She has marked around it with a marker pen to create a pickup point. Kate hovers the drone over the bar. Then claws flick out from the base of the machine, and it slowly descends onto the bar. The claws snap shut, and Kate presses a button on the controller. The drone takes the weight of the bar, strains, and sways slightly, then lifts it up in the air. Kate steers the drone back through the infrared tunnel, around the corner, and into the lorry, where the driver is waiting. She drops the drone down on the wagon floor, and the claws flick open. Then she takes the drone back to the end of the drone line. "Right, I've recorded that." "Go ahead, Coniston," says Gabby. And Kate presses the X button. The next drone follows the path that she had saved into the system. Laravel has moved the next bar to the marked-out space, and the second drone picks it up and flies out to the waiting driver. The third drone is 2 seconds behind, and Laravel starts to feed the marked square with the bars. "Well, let that run," says Gabby. "The cache vault next, please, Hans." He moves across to the second vault and runs the unlock sequence again using the box from London. Inside this vault, it is almost bare, except for one solitary computer terminal. With Laravel and the driver busy loading and unloading the drones, Gabby moves to the side of the lorry and flicks open a panel. She grabs the end of a cable that is coiled inside on a reel. She and Kate pull the cable out until it reaches down the corridor and up to the secure doors. "Hans," calls Gabby. "Cable." As the drones are taking up the top of the space in the infrared tunnel, Hans goes down on all fours and crawls out to the secure doors. He clips the end of the cable to his belt and starts to crawl back. He gets halfway through the tunnel, but raises his head too far, and one of the drones hits him and it spirals away across the floor. Gabby and Hans watch it as it skids and lands a few millimeters away from one of the infrared beams. He breathes out, and he looks back at her with wide eyes. "Keep going," she says. Hans pulls the cable into the cache vault and attaches it to the ports at the back of the computer terminal. Outside, Kate is in the driver's cab, searching for a satellite feed to connect the internet to the cable. Hans logs into the machine in the vault and requests internet access, but no network comes up. He looks at Gabby, standing at the secure doors. "No connection," he calls to her. Gabby runs along the corridor, dodging the drone line that is ferrying bars within a few inches of her head. She gets to the open door of the lorry cab. "Kate, Hans has no network." "The satellite is still trying to locate," she says. Gabby swears under her breath. They both stand for a full 3 seconds as the satellites above the Earth rotate into line. I've got something. A weak signal, says Kate. Anything. Connect to it. Gabby runs back to the secure doors. Kate's got something. Slow, though. Hans puts up a thumb. He types into the keyboard. Transfer has started, he calls. We won't complete the transfer at this rate, unless there's a faster connection. He doesn't take his eyes off the counting percentage on the screen in front of him. 5 minutes, calls Gabby. Kate comes in from the corridor. There's someone on the stairs, Mum. They look back along the corridor to where the steps come down from the reception area. A man is there trying to get through the locked door. He puts his hand into his pocket and pulls out a set of keys and starts to try to find the right one for the door. Gabby preempts what might happen next. She removes her hat, shoes and overalls to reveal her business suit underneath. She walks through a set of double doors and closes them to block his view of the drone line.
Finding a new job is stressful. But with Indeed, it doesn't have to be. Just fill out your Indeed profile with your skills, experience, and desired salary. The more you fill out, the better your matches will be. And hearing from hiring managers will be 2 times more likely. Relax. That's your Indeed profile sending opportunities your way. Indeed, the world can work better.
Eventually the man finds the right key and opens the door. Gabby walks up to him. Hi. What are you doing here? He says. This is a secure area. Yes, we're just doing some checks. She smiles. Can I see your ID? It's in my bag over there. She leads him to where her briefcase is sitting on the floor by an open side door. Gabby goes down on her haunches and pretends to search her bag. It's in here somewhere. The man's face hasn't stopped looking stern since he saw her a minute ago. Here we are. She barely lifts it up. He bends down to take the pass, and Kate takes the butt of her handgun and brings it down on the back of his head with a dull thud. The man falls awkwardly on the floor. We'll leave him here, says Gabby. They walk back to the secure doors. 20 bars left, Mum, calls Laravel. Hans? We're not going to get all the cash. Last bar's in the air. Kate, can you switch the drones off? Says Gabby. The woman grabs her gaming controller and walks back along the drone line to the lorry. As the last bar drops onto the floor of the trailer and the driver jumps out onto the loading dock, she flicks the controls. The drones in the waiting line rotate and start to fly back to the lorry. Then, group by group, they fly low over the 2 pallets of gold that are now piled up in the lorry, and they drop out of sight behind the bullion. 2 minutes, calls Gabby. Laravel, get out of there. How much is left to transfer, Hans? $1 billion in cash. There's no time, she calls. What do I do? Says Hans. Delete it. Delete $1 billion Swiss francs? It's an order, Agent Hans. Her voice shifts. Yes, Mom. The lorry driver is shutting the back doors to the trailer, and Kate is ready to disconnect the internet cable. 1 minute, Hans. The 3 women all stand in the corridor, waiting as Gabby watches the seconds tick away. At 30 seconds, Hans appears from the vault and runs through the infrared tunnel. Take the cable, Laravel. She and Kate start to roll it up and run back to the lorry. Shut the vaults, calls Gabby. Hans hauls the thick doors shut. As the second vault door bangs into place, the timer on the door displays 1 second. Laravel and Kate remove their overalls, shoes and hats. Hans runs out to the corridor and does the same. At the loading dock, the lorry's engine bursts into life. Gabby hits the close button for the goods entrance on her laptop, and the heavy doors start to close. As the spies are nearly ready to go, the man on the floor opens his eyes and starts to regain consciousness. He raises his head. Hey, he shouts. "What's going on?" He tries to stand, but a stinging pain runs through his brain, and he puts his hand to the side of his head. "Sorry, mate," says Hans, and he hits him on the head again, knocking him out cold. They repack their briefcases and return to the open doors of the lift. The indicator lights still show the car as being on the 3rd floor. They get inside, and Hans unplugs the control box from the panel, then presses the button for the ground floor. As the doors open, a wave of chattering hits their ears, coming from a group of frustrated people needing a lift. "At last," says a waiting man in the crowd, as the spies step out of the lift. "Were you stuck? This lift has been out of order for 15 minutes. "Yeah, it was terrible," says Laravel in German. "I need to get some air." A security guard nearby hears her words. "This way, Fräulein." He opens the security gates. "Thank you," she says to the guard as she passes him, dropping her visitor's pass into his hand. The others follow her out. As they all walk away from the building, Gabby looks over to the access road, where a guard is talking to the lorry driver in his cab. After a few seconds, he leans back inside the security hut. The gate rises up, and the lorry moves out towards the road. The 4 spies turn the corner of the street, and their Volvo is parked up ahead. They all get in, and Laravel pulls out into the Frankfurt traffic.